Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady and live on Skype. We got Josh.
Hey.
Next week will be our big WrestleMania preview. 2 nights, many matches to get through. We might even talk about a special certain match that's on that card for the first time, but that does mean that we're not going to have a whole lot of time to talk about NXT Stand and Deliver, their big show coming up on that exact same weekend. So I thought, how about we give a little bit of time on the show this week and we talk about NXT Stand and Deliver now, and then with whatever time we have left on the show, we can start talking about that Raw and that SmackDown build for WrestleMania. And so the first match, I guess, to pull up off of NXT Stand and Deliver, sort of starting down, maybe at Tommaso Ciampa's goodbye match, but we've thought that a couple of times already. It is Ciampa versus Tony D'Angelo.
I think almost certainly it has to be his last match in NXT. They really can't do much more with him there. And they've already started using him in storylines and stuff on the main roster and giving him a match here, a match there. So I think he's moved on. I think this is just a way to elevate Tony, who's one of the 2.0 stars they want to build on. So I think he goes under Tony D'Angelo here, and then Ciampa goes on to the main roster and does Ciampa things.
And does Ciampa things. It's a fair description. Yeah, I'm solidly with you as well. I think this is Ciampa's goodbye, farewell match. He moves on. Tony D'Angelo is going to be one of their big players in NXT 2.0 moving forward. And one of the best ways, I guess, to build him up is going to be at the expense of Ciampa, which ultimately, if he's heading up to the main roster, is going to be quickly forgotten, or he's full-time onto that main roster. So, yeah, hopefully a little farewell for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference between 600,000 people watching him and 2 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be quickly forgotten. It'll just be an anecdote, and as we said, it'll be just a way to further build Tony D'Angelo, who they're trying to actually do something with.
Mm-hmm. And the only other match, I believe, without a title on the line, LA Knight looks to be going one-on-one against Gunther.
Do we have a box big enough to put the remains of LA Knight in afterwards?
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one, but it should be fine because a lot of his chest cavity is just going to be missing.
Yeah, I don't see this going well for LA Knight. But it is a weird position because they're trying to paint him as a babyface, but he's been a heel this whole time. So, I don't know. LA Knight is, he's fine, but I think it's Gunther, aka Walter. I don't see this being a situation where he can beat Gunther. So,
no, I think LA Knight feels like that character now. You've got them on all the brands, right? That gateway to the top kind of character, where he's never quite going to be up there. He can get there himself if he really wanted to, but for the most part, he's just the guy you beat to get into that upper echelon, that gatekeeper.
Which is fine role to be in.
And Gunther has taken, I believe, at least one loss recently as well. So, we gotta build this guy back up, right? He was the one who had many days long NXT UK title reign. Moving him over to NXT US, don't really know what they want to do with him. Obviously, the name switch from Walter to Gunther, but surely he picks up the win here. I would be really confused what the entire point of bringing him over was going to be if he goes under Knight here.
Yeah, I honestly expected an eventual match between Gunther and Braun Breaker as champion, but Dolph Ziggler had to stick his nose in everything. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just a case where we are pretty sure who's going to win this match.
And then I guess to follow Gunther into his Imperium stablemates and look at maybe a match that we don't 100% know who's going to win. We have the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. Current champions Eichner and Barthel from Imperium taking on the Dusty Cup winners, the Creed brothers, taking on MSK, who just sort of fluked themselves into this match.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because it really should be a two-way dance, and for some reason we have a third team that's making no sense. It's in being added in. I do want to say I think this might be the Creed brothers' moment. At least I hope so, because I think they have a lot of potential behind them.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Imperium has been champion most of the last year and a half, off and on, and MSK was the champion when they weren't champions. So it's like, yeah, I'd like to see something different. I'd like to see the Creed brothers win, because I have no idea what they're going to do if they have either MSK or Imperium win this match.
Yeah, that really is the big question mark, because the Creed brothers are my favorites in this team, in this match. Maybe MSK got moved into here so they could pin MSK instead of pinning Imperium to protect them a little bit. I don't quite know, but we do still have that big cloud looming about the attack on the Creed brothers, but it honestly does feel like this is the rise to the top, the ascension moment for the Creed brothers, and seeing them hold those titles and Malcolm Bivens lose his absolute mind is going to be a fun scene to watch back over. And if that is the men's Dusty Cup winners, we got to talk about the women's Dusty Cup winners, just beating out Dakota Kai and her partner, Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray, coming up on top. But instead of challenging for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships like they were meant to, they somehow weaseled their way into the NXT Women's Championship match, turning it into a fatal four-way. So Mandy Rose now has to defend her title not only against Cora Jade, but also Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray.
I thought our girl was going to have a moment here, and then they pulled this stunt.
Yeah, I think kayfabe-wise, this makes minimal sense, right? Like, you win a match as a tag team, you're meant to get the tag team shot, but shoot-wise...
It makes a lot more sense than in kayfabe, too. I mean, if you're going to go after a championship, you can go after the tag team, but nobody has ever used one of these stipulations, like the Money in the Bank or Dusty Classic, to go after a singles title. So it's perfectly fine. I have a feeling that it's like I'm 40% thinking Mandy Rose finds a way to retain. 20% I think Kaylee Ray walks out with the title. And then 40% I have no earthly idea what's going to happen. But I have a feeling it's not going to be Cora Jade, who I want to win.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I believe dirt sheet reasoning for this twist was that Gigi Dolan is injured and couldn't defend the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships at Stand and Deliver. Needs a little bit longer to heal up. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think these two being added to the match removes any chance we had of Cora Jade standing on top. You could see Cora Jade finding a way to overcome Mandy Rose and having that moment, but when you put veterans like Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray in there, to have Cora Jade win, we can't use the fluke style win, or we can't use a bunch of different things because there's just so many people in that match with so much experience. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I think if the title does change hands, it goes to Kaylee Ray. I really do think that. Because our situations that we've been talking about when it comes to this title was either Cora Jade eventually overcoming the odds and winning the championship, or Kaylee Ray winning the championship for Mandy Rose. I really think that they're going to backdoor it, have like Cora Jade hit her finisher on one of the other two, and Mandy Rose steal the finish win. That way, Mandy Rose retains, and Cora Jade still has a reason to go keep chasing after Rose.
Yeah, I can fingers cross, right? Because I want to hope that the stool later on down the line ends in Cora Jade versus Mandy Rose 1-on-1, where Cora Jade comes out on top. Unlike the match with the tag teams, where I can think, oh, maybe MSK were added in to take the fall, I really don't think Shirai or Kaylee Ray were added in to take the fall. If anything, they are stronger contenders than those already in the match. And yeah, I still want Cora Jade to win that NXT Women's Championship. So whatever it takes, I guess. I like your idea of having the Mandy Rose steal, just opening that chance for a one-on-one later on down the line and giving her a reason to have that one-on-one as well.
Yeah. I honestly, I think if anyone takes the fall, it's Io. I think Io would end up taking the fall if it's not Mandy Rose. And if it's Mandy Rose taking the fall, it's Kaylee Ray pinning her. But I think Io Shirai would be makes the most sense because she's already been champion. But I fear they may put Cora under as well. That's another thing that I have fear about.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that, that kills the whole story. You cannot go any further with Cora Jade after Mandy Rose if she is the one that loses this match.
Fingers crossed that is not what we end up seeing. And then, yeah, we've still got time. We'll talk about all of NXT Stand and Deliver before going to our theme song, which I haven't asked in advance, so Josh is going to have to think on the fly when that one comes up. But the NXT North American Championship, it is on the line in a 5-way ladder match. Carmelo Hayes defending it against Santos Escobar, Solo Sikoa, Grayson Waller, and then one of Cameron Grimes, A-Kid, or Roderick Strong. Obviously, we don't know the final competitor just yet because of recording this 2 weeks before the show.
Yeah, I think they'll just throw Roderick Strong in there as the 5th. I would love Cameron Grimes to be in the match, but I don't think he will be. I think we see a new champion.
Okay.
I think this 5-way ladder match is a way to remove the title from Carmelo without him directly having to take a loss pin. I think Grayson Waller walks out with the championship.
You're quite high on Grayson Waller.
I love the work of Grayson Waller. I think he's going to be one of the top heels in NXT for a while until they're ready to bring him up.
Mm-hmm.
And holding the NXT North American Championship would be a great way to further elevate him and get him closer to the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
Which Carmelo dropping this title would allow him to go after the A Championship, despite what he says.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I agree. I think Carmelo Hayes doesn't walk out of the show as the North American champion. I don't think Santos Escobar picks up the title. I don't think Cameron Grimes, A-Kid, or Roderick Strong, any of those last chance people, pick up the win. It is really, for me, it's between Waller and Solo. And I just don't know which way they want to go with it. As you say, Grayson Waller, top heel. But they also seem to be putting quite a bit behind Solo, having, if I recall correctly, taken down Gunther as well. So it's an interesting one. But I'm going to go with one of those two. If you're going Waller, then I will go reverse, and I'll go with Solo winning the match.
Perfectly fair, especially since he is related to Roman. So that is definitely a reason to caution my pick a little bit, because I was considering maybe Solo as well. But I just really like Grayson Waller, and I want to see him with gold.
Yeah. And then the main event, the NXT Championship on the line, Bron Breakker trying to reclaim it from Dolph Ziggler.
I don't know. I really don't. Um,
I think that
it
is
would
the
be.
perfectly valid and most likely answer to this match. We said we there was no way Dolph Ziggler walks out with this title. Dolph Ziggler walks out with this title. He has done it twice to us now. At this point, I'm just not going to predict title matches that Dolph Ziggler's in.
Um, it's interesting. Um, honestly, it really depends on what they want to do with Braun Breaker. I could definitely see them putting the title back on him. Um, it makes no sense, but they've done plenty of things that didn't make sense before, so um, I could see them keeping it on Ziggler and having somebody else chase after him. Um, I do think if Ron wins, I think it might be because of an accidental interference by Robert Roode.
Ooh.
Um,
Yeah,
I just don't know what they're planning on. Especially because I don't know if they really think Braun's ready for the main roster or not. I personally would probably just put the title back on him and keep him there for another 6 months when it's time for the draft to come up for the summer. And then have a solo sequel or Grayson Waller or Kamala Hayes take him down. But I don't
that's
know.
just a
I'm thinking
theory.
149. Yep. It's who knows.
Well, as I said, I will not be predicting Ziggler versus Breaker. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. It is super late into the show for this, but we are going to be transitioning into our entrance theme of the week. What have you got for us, Josh?
Let's go with the Hey, let's give him a swan song. Let's go with Carmelo Hayes.
There we go. The man we are both predicting to be losing the NXT North American Championship, Carmelo Hayes. That song is playing for you right about now. And you're back at Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. That was all of NXT Stand and Deliver. We do have a very small slither of the show left to talk about some Raw and SmackDown stuff that is heating up in towards WrestleMania. It looks like, despite the Big E injury, that the Sheamus and his crew versus New Day looks to still be happening. We're going to have to, I guess, see how it ends up working out, whether it is going to be some sort of 3-2, new third, 2-2 kind of combination out of those guys.
Yeah, we don't really know. But yeah, they were still working together, so that's a good sign. Godspeed to Big E. May be thankfully he's okay, and definitely some scary information that he got from that he posted recently. So yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't kept up with it, I think Big E posted on Twitter just, I guess, how close he was with this injury to having a bunch of much worse outcomes. It's pretty chilling, you know. All it takes is 1 millimeter to the left or 1 millimeter to the right to see an entire career come crumbling down. So, yeah, I agree. All big ups to Big E to try and recover from this, and we'll see him when he's ready. Let's not rush him to get back out there. Seth Rollins, though, this man, not only did he get turned down by Kevin Owens to steal his WrestleMania spot, now he's trying to steal AJ Styles' WrestleMania spot.
Yeah, I have loved the slow burn of this story. I think we know the outcome, where they're going. But the ride has been amazing. Seth's at the top of his game right now. And the fact is that, yeah, he's a top star that does not have a match for WrestleMania. Imagine that. Wasn't it just a couple years ago when we were watching John Cena go through the same thing? Except John Cena challenged the same person every time, every week. But yeah, I mean, this ride has been amazing. We know who's he's facing at WrestleMania. It's going to be Cody Rhodes, but that's the end game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything up to that has just been pure gold, and I think we're going to see even more of that on Monday, when he threatens to cancel Raw.
Yeah, I think it's a case of how far are they going to take it. You know, we've talked about the possibility of having Cody come out at WrestleMania if he's trying to hijack WrestleMania. Does he come out next week on Raw? Is there somebody else's spot he tries to take? I don't know. Personally, I'm down for what we were talking about before and completely leaving it all the way up till WrestleMania.
I mean, it's already been spoiled that Cody's signed with WWE, which I wouldn't even done. But the stupid internet does what the stupid internet does, and can't leave a surprise for in the chamber. So, because imagine Seth does go out on Raw and just says, "I'm going to fight anybody who'll come out," and then Cody Rhodes comes out. The pop on that would have been huge just because of the surprise factor. Because up until that point, we wouldn't have known for sure. Now we do know for sure, so we know it's going to happen.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure Cody will get a big enough pop anyway on his own. The match I guess we don't fully have at the moment is both mid-card titles. Don't have anything at WrestleMania 100% locked in. Finn Balor, Austin Theory, Damian Priest are still having some sort of three-way dance until Pat McAfee gets his nose in there, and Ricochet over on SmackDown's not doing a whole hell of a lot either. So, what is up with these mid-card titles, and what do you think we're going to see at WrestleMania? Maybe
at this point, I'm not sure we'd see anything. Honestly, I mean, the titles haven't been that important of late for the mid card. So I don't know. I do think we need to start building them up because we're about to lose one of our world championships. So
you're not wrong.
Yeah. But I don't really know. I don't really know what their plans are because they have not really tipped their hands in any direction. They just changed the U.S. title, so maybe we see a rematch between Demon Finn versus our heel version of Damian Priest. Maybe they'll throw that on one of the nights, but I can't tell you a thing that they're planning for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, it's a tough one, as you say. I think the US title, the only thing it's really got open to it is some combination of Balor, Theory, and Priest. Theory obviously preoccupied. Doesn't really need to pull double duty here at WrestleMania. That Intercontinental title, man, just pulled it off Sammy. Both of these mid-card titles really have just been changed of hands. Could be open in the air, could really have anything. The sad part about it is I could also just as easily see Ricochet ending up in the Battle Royal, despite holding the Intercontinental title.
Assuming we even have a Battle Royal, which they have not even mentioned. We may not even have either Battle Royal this year.
I'll say Ricochet ends up in a filler match of some variety. I would be very open to just... I know we're having one on NXT Stand and Deliver, but having a multi-man ladder match at WrestleMania... I do miss me some Money in the Banks at WrestleMania, so I'm always down for that. And Ricochet would deliver. Intercontinental title at a ladder match seems like it would be a bit of a fitting tribute as well. But we haven't done anything that would hint towards that or, as you say, tip their hat in any direction for that title. Could be where you could shove a couple of the guys from the Sheamus New Day feud as well, I guess, who are looking for homes.
You know what? Do Holland and Butch versus the New Day, and put Sheamus versus Ricochet in a ladder match.
Sure.
Then you have the bad guy, the current bad guy, in Sheamus, facing off against basically the 1-2-3 Kid right now.
Yeah. Look, anything for this Intercontinental title. As you say, one of these world titles is about to disappear. We really need to put some focus on these mid-card titles. They need to become important, because for one of the shows, it's going to be the only singles men's title on that show. And if it's SmackDown, I'm feeling a little sorry for them, because all they're going to have is Ricochet standing around doing nothing. Might not even be featured at WrestleMania. But on that note, that is our gauntlet we've thrown down. WWE sorted out. Get something for that Intercontinental title. We are entirely out of time this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, D.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling Wrestling R&D up. I've messed it up like 3 weeks in a row now. And our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up. Or our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling R&D up. And we will see you next week with the jam-packed, spectacular, stupendous, duper-duper, amazing WrestleMania preview show.